Part 1. The Creative Crisis. We all know that feeling of being truly moved by characters, created from just digital polygons or hand-drawn ink, in a brightly colored animated movie played in a dark theater. For 100 years, animation has been a tremendously manual process, one in which thousands of incredibly trained, deeply passionate artists are pouring their souls into each and every frame. So what happens when a Silicon Valley algorithm decides that it wants to take over the studio? The entertainment industry is experiencing an unprecedented earthquake right now. Artificial intelligence isn't making its way into the animation process. It's attempting to obliterate the traditional workforce, change the rules of artistic production, and supplant the human hand with a cold, generative machine. 2. The executive payday is the second part of the series. In order to grasp this invasion, you need to peer right into the faces of the folks writing the payroll checks. In the large studios that are the corporate giants, animation has always been a very expensive and painfully slow process. The executives weren't seeing a fun new creative tool when the tech companies were touting generative AI. They were seeing a huge and brutal cost-cutting machine. Industry analyses have already claimed to have reduced production costs by up to 22% to 35% by simply applying AI workflows. For investors who are only focused on the bottom line, AI is a perfect dream. A worker who never goes on strike, requires benefits or vacation time, or needs healthcare and will create content on the cheap. Part 3. The 90% Prophecy. The elite executives provide a startling example of how they see this. Just look at the former Disney executive and DreamWorks co-founder Jeffrey Katzenberg. He recently delivered an explosive surprise to the film industry, openly declaring that AI will ultimately save a massive 90% of the budget spent on animated films. He directly stated that in the good old times, 5 world-class artists with 500 days of working hours could create a world-class animated blockbuster of 5 years. The aggressive acceptance of AI will take less than 10% of that time and workforce off his hands, he said. That's less than an efficiency tweak and more of an executive voice yelling for the complete, wholesale destruction of traditional animation teams. The Efficiency Illusion. Part 4. Now the tech manufacturers and studios will be scrambling to keep making this sound like the art form's big improvement. They believe that AI will revolutionize the animation process. And, in some very nitty-gritty ways, it is. A new type of frame predicting using AI is being employed where a computer can work out and sketch the in-between frames of a very complicated action sequence, freeing up hundreds of hours of man-hours. Rendering times were cut down from days to hours by AI upscalers, and machine learning is automating highly sophisticated physics tasks such as lighting, water, cloth, and more. But it's a double-edged sword, because when a machine can do the dirty work in 10 seconds, the studio no longer has to pay for the dirty work that the humans used to do. The Staggering Statistics. Part 5. This isn't some abstract or future scenario. It's all the jobs that are disappearing, and the numbers are devastating. More than 204,000 entertainment industry jobs will be wildly disrupted over the next 3 years, according to recent economic studies commissioned by the Animation Guild. Out of these, a whopping 118,500 are expected to be entirely lost, consolidated, or replaced by AI that generates content by 2026 across the film, TV, and animation industry. This represents more than 20% of all workers facing joblessness, and California alone facing the loss of tens of thousands of hardworking, highly trained creatives. Part 6. The Layoff Avalanche. This is not some number on a corporate spreadsheet. These are real people with mortgages, families, and broken dreams. In the past couple of years alone, we've been witnessing a bloodbath of layoffs in the largest of the names in the business. Many of the most talented storyboard artists, 3D modelers, and concept designers have already been laid off from the animation and gaming industry giants, such as Pixar, Riot Games, Unity Software, and Amazon MGM, with thousands of other positions cut. The industry is ruthlessly reducing manpower, putting money aside, and replacing entire departments with algorithms that generate images, leaving thousands of experienced animators completely cut out of the field they helped to develop. Part 7. The Entry-Level Extinction. The biggest casualty of this AI revolution is that of the entry-level artist, who is completely destroyed. Traditionally, Young animators would do the mundane, unsexy jobs, scrubbing away the scratches on rough sketches, making the simple 3D background objects, or coloring in the individual frames. You learned the trade this way, and you made your dues this way. Today, however, a studio can simply ask an AI to create a completely textured 3D background barrel or a gigantic cityscape in mere seconds. These junior roles are being eliminated, and the industry is destroying the only way for the next generation of animators to enter the industry by fully automating these jobs away. 8. The Sora phenomenon. The final nail in this existential terror was the release of OpenAI's video generation tool, Sora. It was a whopping moment in the tech world when it first came out. From just a single text prompt, Sora was creating video clips as high in definition, hyper-realistic, and highly stylized as they could be, up to a minute long. The industry reaction was instant and frightful. The billionaire filmmaker recently made it public that he was totally shutting down a huge $800 million expansion on his film studio due to a demonstration of Sora that made him realize he wouldn't require as many human crews and physical sets in the future. Filmers and animators alike were instantly subjected to Sora's ultimate, undeniable Grim Reaper. 9. The Stolen Foundation. The exterior veneer was shiny and technologically interesting, but soon started to decay, exposing a highly debatable and immoral base. How it has been designed, Sora quickly gained an immense degree of toxicity in the creative community. AI models don't just conjure things up, they need to be aggressively trained in huge quantities of data. The dirty secret about generative AI is that these tech giants took the liberty of copying millions of copyrighted artworks, animated films, and illustrations from the internet without ever asking for permission, giving any compensation and providing no credit. The problem is, the AI itself is taking the work of animators for free and paying them off on their work. The thing is, the AI is literally hiring the same animators who are doing the work for free and firing them. 10. The physics of slop. After the initial shock subsided, Sora's true quality began to be openly criticized. It seems that the AI can make something that looks pretty and is static, but possesses no understanding of real physics, anatomy, or spatial reality. Videos soon went viral depicting horrific and bizarre glitches. People popping out extra limbs, cars smashing through walls of concrete, and people floating backwards down the street with faces twisted into a complete mess. Soon, the web was referring to this slick yet deeply flawed generative content as AI slop. It was then that it was realized that it was not really animating. It was simply spawning pixels according to statistical likelihoods. Part 11. The guardrail failure. Sora's poor reputation took a complete turn for the worse when the so-called safety guardrails failed to perform when tested more widely. The platform got saturated with violent, copyrighted, and disturbing content. Users were easily creating videos of characters such as Pokemon's Pikachu or SpongeBob's SpongeBob in massive realistic war zones, or being used in very unsuitable and brand-damaging situations. The lack of fidelity to reality, the extreme degree of potential emotional manipulation, copyright infringement, and the ability to produce deepfakes and misinformation on the platform all led to a massive immediate backlash from society. The magic soon turned into a legal and PR nightmare. 12. The resulting huge reaction, the exorbitant processing expenses, and the sheer lack of reliability of the system led to a complete meltdown for the tech companies. In an incredible turnaround, OpenAI suddenly switched its focus and essentially shuttered the big public launch of the Sora video platform. This sudden shutdown ended the entire $30 million production pipeline of independent animated films which had foolishly depended on the software, to the extent that they missed out major film festivals. It's even got corporate giants like Disney to end a massive $1 billion deal with the AI company on a whim. The future of animation got blown away because it was all a house of cards. Part 13. The Volatile Dependency. Sora's crash revealed an enormous, horrifying shortcoming for studios looking to replace their human artists with AI. With a human animator, you'll have a dedicated, flexible team member who can read the notes, feel the emotions, and will have the director's vision. If a studio sets up their workflow on an AI platform, they are also constructing a multi-million-dollar business on 100% leased, extremely fluid infrastructure. A Silicon Valley tech CEO can easily make a seemingly random change to the algorithm, turn off the servers, or alter the business model overnight, and suddenly kill a studio's production pipeline. It disproved the notion that AI can be the sole backbone of a big animated movie, as it is currently too risky, legally dangerous, and unstable. Part 14. The Prompt Engineer Myth. In fact, despite the massive, highly publicized failures of platforms such as Sora, executives continue to desperately put their fingers to their lips and maintain that they can simply hire some cheap prompt engineers rather than well-trained animators. They believe that putting "make a sad dog walking in the rain" in a text box is the same as making a sad dog walk in the rain. However, real animation isn't merely moving a 3D object from point A to B. It's about acting. It's about knowing exactly when someone is breathing, how, the weight of their feet, the real emotion in their eyes, and the nuances. You can't make a sad dog with a mechanical face by running an algorithm that doesn't know what sadness means. In the end, though, it's important to keep in mind that while AI will cause a lot of painful disruption and job loss in the short term, it will never be able to eliminate the soul of animation. The audiences relate to the animated characters because they can intuitively feel the human intention, the effort, and the real life conveyed by a human artist. However, while AI can produce a billion frames of well-lit, high-resolution slop, it will never bring anything to life. It has no empathy and no lived human experience, and it has no soul. The tools will change, and the financial consequences will be severe. But the art of animation, as much as anything else, is very human.